Hi friends, this is going to be week 2, day 2, SEL lesson. So yesterday we learned, here it is, we learned habit 1. And habit 1 is be proactive. Being proactive means I'm in charge of me. Nice job if you remembered that and you just did that along with me. Being proactive means that you are in charge of yourself. You take responsibility for your actions. You don't blame others for wrong actions. You choose your own actions, attitudes, and moods, and you do the right thing without being asked. Those are all part of being proactive. Yesterday, I introduced our 7 Habits of Happy Kids book. I talked to you a little bit about 7 Oaks. The characters from 7 Oaks, and we read we read a story called Bored, Bored, Bored. Remember, Sammy Squirrel was bored. He had nothing to do, and he learned at the end that he was in charge of his own fun, right? He kept walking up to everybody else wanting them to make fun for him, but in reality, he was the one that had control over what he was doing, right? Right. So that's something good to keep in mind. Being proactive means that you have to take control of your own mood, your own actions. Today, we're going to read a story, and we're going to talk a little bit about being proactive. So this story is called Armadillo Tattletale. There's the back cover. This is written by Helen Kettleman, and it's illustrated by Keith Graves. Armadillo Tattletale. So we're going to talk a little bit about because we're going to learn a little bit about Armadillo right now. And then we'll stop and talk about how he could be proactive and how it could change the outcome of the story. In the bare bones beginning, Armadillo's ears were as tall as a jackrabbit's and as wide as a steer's horns. With such wonderful ears, Armadillo could hear anything and everything. And he loved nothing better than eavesdropping on other animals and telling tales about what he heard. That doesn't sound like it's going to be good. Look at how gigantic those ears are. Oh my goodness. Have you ever seen an armadillo before? Armadillos usually live in warmer climates. But as good as his ears were for hearing, they dragged in the dirt and stuck in the muck after a rain, and always made him trip. Thus, Armadillo was the slowest of creatures. And since the other animals disliked him for telling tales, they beat him to the watering hole every day and forced Armadillo to scrounge through the mud for a puddle of murky water to drink. It tasted awful and practically made him sick, so he drank as little as possible and was always thirsty. Uh-oh. One day, as Armadillo stumbled around searching for a puddle, he overheard Egret whisper to Turtle, "Blue Jay's feathers are looking a bit scraggly. I wonder if the poor bird is sick. I'll call on him tomorrow to see if I can be of help." Who do you see in the background? Armadillo's ears, right? But Armadillo went to Blue Jay first, twitching his little tail as he spoke. "I heard Egret talking about you," he said in a sing-songy voice. "She thinks you're scraggly looking." Blue Jay squalled, and he balked, and he squawked, and he gawked, and he otherwise threw one humongous hissy fit. Squawk, squawk, squawk! He does not look happy about that, does he? Armadillo, but was that the truth that Armadillo said to him? No, because Egret wanted to see if he could help Blue Jay, right? He was worried that Blue Jay might be sick. When Egret heard what had happened, she went straight away to Armadillo. What you told Blue Jay was not true. Anyway, my words were not for your ears, she scolded, and she pick-pecked his ears good and proper and gave him the what for and the how come and the why not. Armadillo cried, great big armadillo tears, and he promised never to tell tales again. That situation wouldn't have happened if Armadillo was being proactive, right? If he was just taking care of himself, that would not have happened. But the next day, while searching the mud for a sip of water, Armadillo heard Muskrat and Butterfly talking, and he hid in the bushes to listen. Rattlesnake's rattles used to be terribly out of tune, but now they sound wonderful. She must be taking music lessons, said Muskrat. And there's Armadillo listening in on the conversation. Armadillo tripped over to where Rattlesnake lay, warming herself in the sun. He shifted his weight from foot to foot in an awkward armadillo dance. Rattlesnake opened an eye and Armadillo grinned. I heard Muskrat talking about you. He said your rattles sound terrible and out of tune. Rattlesnake rattled, and she prattled, and she fussed, and she cussed, and she otherwise threw one humongous hissy fit. Rattle! Hiss! Hiss! That wasn't nice, what Armadillo said to her. Because that wasn't true, was it? When Muskrat heard what had happened, he scurried to Armadillo. You twisted my words into something I did not say, he shrieked. Besides, my words are not for your ears. And he whacked his tail at Armadillo and gave him the what for and the how come and the why not. Armadillo cried buckets of tears, and he promised never ever to tell tales again. Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think he's never going to tell a tale again? Let's see. But the next day, while slogging through the mud looking for a drink, Armadillo saw Alligator and Blue Heron talking, and he stepped behind a rock to listen. Toad's skin is looking so much better than it used to. I wonder if she changed her diet, said Alligator. Armadillo's out off in the distance, listening with his big ears. Armadillo shuffled off to find Toad. I heard Alligator say your skin is pug ugly and you should go on a diet, he said with a twinkle in his eye. Toad hopped and she flopped and she wailed and she railed and she otherwise threw one humongous hissy fit. Croak! Rabbit! Croak! Toad is not happy about that. When Alligator found out what Armadillo had said, she hurried to find him. Why did you tell Toad those things? I never said them, she snapped. Anyway, my words were not for your ears. She gave him the what for and the how come and the why not. And now, she said, I'll fix your ears so you won't be snooping and telling tales again. And she opened her mouth and gnashed and clashed her big, strong alligator teeth. And she nipped and snipped and clipped at Armadillo's ears until there was nothing left but teeny, tiny, itsy-weeny little ears. When she finished, Armadillo looked at his reflection in a puddle. His ears were so tiny. Then he started to cry. Oh, did he cry? He raised such a ruckus that all the animals came to see what had happened. And when they saw his ears, his new tiny, teeny, itsy-weeny little ears, they stared and they gawked and they whispered. Armadillo stopped crying. What? He asked. What are you whispering? Everyone gaped at Armadillo because for the first time, he hadn't quite heard. Do you see how small his ears are now? And now he can't overhear what they're saying. It was not for your ears anyway, Muskrat called out. Armadillo's face turned red. I did not hear the whispers, but I heard that, he said, chasing after Muskrat. In seconds, Armadillo caught him. Did you see how fast Armadillo ran? Muskrat shouted. He didn't trip at all, added Blue Jay. Why, he's so fast. Now we'll never be able to keep him away from the fresh water, said Rattlesnake. Armadillo felt his tiny, teeny, itsy-weeny little ears. Fresh water, he shouted. That is just what I want, and it's fun to run fast. Then he danced and raced in circles and zigzags all the way to the watering hole, where he drank as much fresh, clear water as he wanted. From now on, I will never be thirsty again. And he wasn't. He also stopped telling tales, for even though he could hear with his tiny, teeny, itsy-weeny little ears, he couldn't overhear the other animals' conversations. To this day, armadillos have small ears. They always drink their fill of fresh water, and you may hide in the bushes and listen as long as you like, but you will never ever catch an armadillo telling tales. He's drinking all the fresh water he can with that straw. The end. That's the end of our story. So Armadillo had a problem in the story, didn't he? He was a tattletale. He kept telling tales. He would listen to other people's conversations and then twist their words around and tell a story, right? That wasn't true. And he was hurting a lot of friends' feelings, wasn't he? Because that's not something nice that we should do. If Armadillo was being proactive and taking care of just himself, would he have had that problem? No, right? If Armadillo was just concerned with himself and what he was doing and saying, he would not have the problem of telling tall tales. So, if Armadillo should have been being proactive, right? Being proactive means that you take care of yourself. You only are concerned with what you say and what you think. You don't listen to other people's conversations. That's not very nice, is it? Especially if their words are not for you. If somebody tells you something, then those words are for you. But if you just listen in on conversations, that's not a very polite thing to do. So, friends, I hope you enjoyed our Armadillo Tattletale book. And I hope that you this week are practicing being proactive, taking care of yourself. I'm in charge of me. Make sure that you are paying attention to yourself and yourself only. Don't concern yourself with other people's business when you don't have any right to do so. Okay, friends? Tomorrow during this time, we will be live and we will be meeting our art teacher, Mrs. Sparshoe, which I'm very excited for you to do with you tomorrow. So tomorrow, this will be a live time instead of a recorded time. Okay, friends? I hope you have a great night and I hope you enjoyed our story. Thank you.